Hello, friends, fans, and followers. Matt with Tails on Trails Deer Tracking. Hey, we got a great broadcast today. I'm really excited about it. It's a little kind of out of the norm from what we've done in the past, but it's probably perhaps going to be the most meaningful podcast that I will ever do. Um, and I'm super stoked to talk about it. We are bringing on Ron Smith from the Fallen Outdoors to talk about their mission for veterans, and we will be joined by my son-in-law Joel Evers as a special co-host, considering his background. So let's just bring them both on right now. Oops, I just removed them from the stream, and what I meant to do was do this right here. Joel, say hi to folks.
Hi,
Ron,
everyone.
give everybody a wave. There you go. Hey, Ron. So hey guys, thanks a lot for coming on. Like I said, my dog is over here whining to go outside, so that's what happens when you have a bloodhound in your house. But I think she's gonna be okay. But hey, um, thanks for joining, guys. Like I said in the intro before I brought you on, I think this is perhaps the most meaningful podcast I will ever do, and I am super stoked to start talking about this and basically get out of Ron's way and let him talk about it and the great work that the Fallen Outdoors is doing for our veterans and active duty service members. Um, there's some great work being done here, and I'm not going to steal the thunder here. I am not going to get in the way. I'm going to get out of the way and ask a few insightful, thoughtful questions, as insightful and thoughtful as I can be. But I did want to talk a little bit about why I asked Joel to co-host this with me. Joel is a social worker by profession with his advanced degree um, from Grand River Community College, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Michigan State University.
I see what you did
Um,
there.
I see what you did there. But Joel, before we start talking with Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background here, pal?
Yeah, definitely. So, I went to for my master's at MSU, and while I was there, you can kind of just select a clinical focus that you want to pursue, and I studied social work with combat veterans, and so it was kind of broken up into three different courses. It's all veteran led. The courses include hearing the stories of war, sharing the burden of war, and things like this, and it was just really, really powerful. And so I ultimately studied that when I was in school because I have a lot of close friends, family, people that I really care about in my life who are veterans, and so that kind of fueled my passion into the bringing that into my clinical work. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I'm really excited to hear about Ron and hear about what their program is doing and just be a part of the conversation. So thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the tie-in. That's why I thought, man, we've got to get Joel to be a part of this because he can relate, at least from an institutional academic perspective, of the things that you're doing, Ron, with the Fallen Outdoors. So with that, Ron, tell us about yourself. Tell us about the Fallen Outdoors mission, how you got involved with it, and what would you have us know? Because based on our phone call last night, I am truly inspired by what you guys are doing and glad to have you talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I got involved because I have PTSD from getting out of the service, and for a while I couldn't deal with nothing. I couldn't be around people, and I just kind of clammed up and stayed at home for, I would say, the first probably 8, 9 years. My wife, our relationship wasn't very good. I just felt like I just couldn't be around people. And then I found this organization, and funny thing was, I wasn't looking for anything special, no handout or nothing, but I seen what they did for veterans, take them out. I didn't try the fishing thing. When I was growing up, deer hunting was my thing. My first wife, she divorced me, said I was in the woods and in the water too often, and told the judge the reason why she wanted divorce was because of that. But I didn't even want to be in the outdoors. When up till about, I'd say 6 years ago, I was kind of a loner, and I had surgery on my shoulders. I couldn't bow hunt. I lived paycheck to paycheck and was really struggling. And I went on to this page and I told them my whole story about shoulder surgery, not being able to pull back a bow, and didn't have money to buy a crossbow, but that's what I wanted. And I was in probably 4 months, 3 months, and I put an ad out there on the page and said, "Hey, I really love being in the woods, really love to deer hunt, but here's a situation." And it didn't take long. It took the 2 days, and the state lead, Matt McCary, and another pro staffer who is what I do now, a pro staffer, said, "Hey, why don't you meet us up at Jay's Sporting Goods?" And they didn't tell me why. I just said, "We got a big surprise for you." So the next day at noon, I drove up to Clare to Jay's Sporting Goods, and when I pulled up, these two guys come walking across the parking lot. They treated me like they knew me my whole life, and they said, "Hey, come on up here." And I got up in front of the front door where it says Jay's Sporting Goods and everything, and they said, "Just a second." And the owner came out, and Matt and him walked over to me, and they handed me a brand new crossbow.
Wow.
Bolts.
Wow.
And I went mad crazy. I mean, I cried.
Yeah. I can imagine. Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, wow, you just got me, a step out of where I'm at. The very next day, I went out, I sat in the blind maybe 20 minutes, and I shot a doe, and I'm not kidding. I've never made a more perfect shot in my life. When I gutted her, I took out and I was holding the heart in my hand, and it was a perfect straight in, perfect shot. And I took a picture and I sent it to Matt and Jerry, and they just called me the deer killingest fool they ever did see, because killed every one of my tags in a week, every one of them in a week with that cross. And to this day, I tell guys that come into the Fallen Outdoors that story. And there's been so many more, opportunities for therapy for myself, because that's why I do it now. Therapy for myself.
Sure.
One of the that I do out there is when I get them out hunting, or I get them out fishing, or I'm out in the outdoors with them in whatever I'm doing. It's I forget about everything. That's my therapy. So with that, I'd like to tell you the mission of the Fallen Outdoors.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Okay, our mission with Fallen Outdoors is to get veterans out, and some active duty too, by the way, but get veterans outside into the outdoors, get them on the water, in the woods, to help slow the suicide rate. We lose 24 veterans a day, and in my opinion, and everybody's opinion that I know, 24 a day, even one a day, is too many. And with what's going on in society and with the world right now, the way it is right now, the best way to slow it is to hit it head on. And that's what our organization does. We hit it head on. We don't charge nothing. We get them on the water for free. We get them in the woods for free. All we require is you have your Michigan fishing license, your Michigan hunting license. Whatever you're doing, you just have to have your license. You don't have to pay for getting in the boat. You don't have to pay for getting in the blinds. We just get them out there for therapy. And you can't believe how many people, how many stories I've heard from people since I've been a pro staff and taken veterans out.
Well, that's great, Ron. So tell us about, I'm interested in how that works then. So you said you're getting veterans on the water, you're getting veterans in deer blinds, you're getting veterans, looking for shed antlers, and this is much broader than just hunting, right? We're talking about anything outdoors, aren't we?
Anything, shed hunting, mushroom hunting. We had an elderly gentleman that he was a veteran and he was sitting at home and bored, and he told me, he's seen pictures of trail cams, and he actually went and bought a couple trail cams and asked me to help him, set them up. And that elderly guy sits at home and watches them trail cams and says that's the best therapy in the world. I mean, that he just loves it. And, we didn't get him out in the outdoors, but we've got him involved with the outdoors. And
you got him experiencing the outdoors. Yes. He's engaged with it. Yep.
Now, what we do is like I'll give you an example of April 8th. I have a crappie tournament on a local lake around here, and everybody's invited, veterans and non-veterans. But we hold events like that. For myself, that's kind of like my fundraiser. I use any money that I take in for gas, for the boat, or bait, whatever I need for them. That's kind of like fundraiser. Now, I can't count on how many veterans I took fishing or hunting, but last year, myself, the Fallen Outdoors and all the staffers. Now, what we do is people that been in the organization a while and want to help. Our requirements for a staffer is you must do 4 trips a year, or hold an event, and I exceed that quite well because that's what I love to do.
Yeah, I love your guys' mission. I think it's so powerful to hear how you're trying to combat suicide rates head on, but also there's just this huge component of like healing and connection, both healing to nature, whether it's mushroom hunting or shed hunting or gun hunting or bow hunting, all of that stuff. But also there's this huge piece of it that seems like being in connection with other people. Like you mentioned, like when you bought your crossbow, there was this, you just felt like you were so welcomed. Like what from your perspective, Ron, like what helps veterans heal who join this program, who become a part of this program?
A lot of them, like, we had a young guy, he went through a lot. He almost committed suicide almost 3 times, and he got locked up, and that's another reason why I do it, because guys like him, he didn't have anything like this. And once he found out about this, he hasn't tried to commit suicide. He's been with us about 5.5 years now. He's a minister now. It's just a major healing and a change in a veteran that's going through a lot, to be able to know that there's camaraderie and brotherhood, out there that isn't going to charge him, that isn't going to, say, judge him or that, Some of the veterans are homeless. We had a couple staffers go up to the VA shelter home and pick out a couple veterans and took them out on the water last year, a couple 78-year-old guys, and to see the smile on their face out of that home. I mean, they sit in that home 24/7 every day, and most of them just sleep. This guy, we cleaned his fish for him. He wanted us to come back and eat them with him,
That's great. Yeah. Well, it's that camaraderie, man. You want to share the spoils with those that were with you when you got it, man. It's like sharing venison jerky.
Yes, sir.
Share it with your friends. That's fantastic.
Another thing we do is like, some veterans have, they can't afford food, and some of them can't hunt. So I reach out to local butchers, processors. Last year, I had reached out to a few meat companies. I don't know if I'm allowed to say their names on here, promote them, but I really would like to promote them because they donated 19 JJ's Meat in Hanover Horton. and Nagel Meat in Concord donated over 1,900 pounds of venison. And then what I go on to the Midwest page. Our division is Team Michigan. We belong to the Midwest region. There's 4 regions of the TFO, so we're nationwide, all over the United States. Every one of them has a state lead, as an assistant lead, and then they have us, state staffers, pro staffers.
Okay.
Some of the staffers specialize in duck hunting. Some specialize in fishing. Some specialize in deer hunting. And just getting them out to be able to do those things has changed so many of their lives that, that I know of. I see guys that, for instance, the guy who committed suicide, he came looking pretty rough. He came looking like he'd been through the war. His clothes weren't the greatest. He probably looked pretty rough like me. He wasn't shaved up, and he just like he'd been to the ringer. I can call him up right now, and you'd never recognize the person who started. You'd never realize that he was the same guy that wanted to go out fishing. And the amazing thing with that guy, I'll touch on that later on, but the amazing thing is, gone from committing suicide to finding God, out on the water fishing with another vet,
And that and the catalyst for that was the Fallen Outdoors and the work that you guys did.
Exactly. He never had an idea about the Fallen Outdoors. He signed up, he heard about it, he signed up, and I had put on what we do as staffers. Like I said, we have to do 4 trips a year. I had put on the Midwest page. I have openings for a fishing trip tomorrow or next Saturday. I can't remember what it was, but please, if you want to go, hit Catching Fish, and then I had probably 10 veterans answer Catching Fish. So I called every one of them, lined them up, and this is what every one of our staffers do. They'll call them, line them up, tell them where they're going, meet them there, and they've got to do nothing but bring themselves. And that alone, it just makes that person, that veteran or that active duty guy, it makes them realize, hey, just like me with the bow, the compound, they don't have to do this, and look at what they're doing for me. And that changes a person's outlook.
So I meant to mention on the intro that, this podcast isn't about tracking, but it came about as the result of tracking, because I did a track for one of your active duty members that was hunting very close to me as a result of the Fallen Outdoors, some of the property that you had secured. So it was great. And this hunter, this active service member was new to hunting. He admitted it. I mean, he was just a wonderful guy. I was so happy that I had the chance to track for him. And now we didn't recover his deer. I don't believe it was fatally hit. Every indication was it wasn't a fatally hit deer, but the experience was great. And as trackers, part of what we, hope to do, and, hopefully we can put a deer on the tailgate for you, but that only happens about 30% of the time nationally. But what we can do often is provide, information and feedback. And, I hate to say the word educate, because I don't feel like, that sounds so lofty. So we're educating people. For me, I don't like that. But, as a new hunter, we were able to provide some information for him that was new for him that he didn't know. So I like to think that, there are things that we can do as trackers that help build their experience, help build their knowledge to make them better. And I feel that's what happened with Kantar, and it was just a wonderful wonderful conversation. In fact, he texted me a couple of times, "Hey man, I saw another deer or whatever," and it was just great. So I say all of that to say, are most of your veterans and active duty members, are they typically new to the outdoors, or are you getting experienced hunters and hikers and shed hunters, or is it a mixed bag?
It's kind of a mixed bag. Cantor, he hunted the year before that. Didn't get nothing. Saw a lot of deer. Didn't get no shots. But he put in the time. That tell you what, he'd sit out there every day when nobody else would come. That's another thing that the Fallen Outdoors. That's what I do. I go knocking on farmers' doors. If they're not home, I'll leave a card and a little note. That's important for our organization to be able to talk to farmers. What I do is, I see a big farm and I'll go knock on the door and say, hey, I run a veteran, I'm helping out veteran organization, and what we do. I'll tell them what we do, and a lot of them just turn you away. I don't want nobody on my property. I don't want nobody hurt. Anything like. But like Cantor, he put in the time on a farm that one of our donors leased for us, generously leased for us. This is a $3,000 farm, but we get it nonstop, 24/7. We can do anything we want on it. He hunted the property before and didn't get nothing but seen him. The following, the year that you had met him. Before that one, he had missed a huge deer. I mean, he had, but he didn't know what to do with it. He got right up out of the stand and went right after it and tracked it and lost it. And then, it inevitably called me at 10 o'clock at night. Come out here. I got a deer. I can't get it. The second time when he got the deer, through, kind of like my lesson was, hey, just let it die, sit down. I know you don't smoke cigarettes, but count to 1,000 or something. Look at your watch. Right. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Don't wait an hour before you go after them. And then it wasn't even a couple weeks later, and he was like, "I got one. Oh, and that's great. That's when you were called.
Oh,
and
okay.
Your education. What you as you say, not educate, but yeah, it was an education, because in Cantor's case, 2 weeks later on state land, he got a big 9-point and did exactly what you told him to do. He waited, did what I did, what you said, wait.
That's great.
He had told me that, the things that you said. He said, I did what Mike said to do. I did what you said to do. And I got him, and sent me pictures and stuff like that. So
what, I'm going to send. I still have him saved in my contacts. I'm going to send him a strongly worded text, because that stinker did not send me a picture. I told him, I said, buddy, if you shoot one, I want to see a picture of it, man. And he did not send me a picture of the deer he got. So I appreciate you sharing that, Ron. I'm gonna give him a little bit of what for about that.
It's really cool what you guys do too, because, for me, I grew up around hounds. My dad and grandfather owned Smith Fur and Hides, where they did a lot of trapping and coon hunting. And I grew up with black and tans and blue ticks as my favorite. Okay, and Dad loved red bones, and I mean, he made a lot of jokes about my hounds, but a lot of competition between parents. And I used to have a little blue tick beagle. He was supposed to run rabbits, but unfortunately liked deer. So I turned him into a tracker like you guys. And, I've seen pictures of the shepherd, I think. I've seen pictures of the bloodhound, and I envy you. I'm jealous,
No.
One thing of the sound of a barking hound, it's music to my ears.
Oh yeah, I like the sound of a hound dog too. Sometimes it can be a little a little obnoxious, but I tell you what, I wouldn't trade my bloodhound for anything. I love her to death, and she's a year and a half old. So if we talk about, you know, the fundraising and the things you do, so that's what you're doing. You are
Door to door.
Yeah, the door to door. So you're raising money to help reimburse your out of pocket expense to some degree, as far as, you know, the gas for the travel. But you're also using that money for to secure leases and things. Is that right?
Exactly. Myself, and I don't like talking about myself, but, you know, I've knocked on doors. I went on Facebook and asked, you know, a lot of people and stuff. And I was able to secure, 3 or 4 farms around here where we could get them out deer hunting. Mr. Tripp, who owns Tripp's Auto, you know, he donated $1,000. He donated tree stands and blinds and stuff like that. That was the spring farm that you was out on. This, Michigan has never had a banquet, never had a big fundraiser, but like local events around here, like the Hot Air Jubilee and stuff like that, I'll set up. The last time I was out there to the Hot Air Jubilee out in the park, was able to sign up 25 new members, was able to get a guy that came over that owned a food truck who is now going to cater the banquet that I'm getting ready to put on for like a quarter the price of what I normally did.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And he donated 40 acres of prime deer hunting. So what I do is tell them about what we need. You know what the phone.
I think that's
Go ahead.
What you need. Yeah, no, I think it's just such an awesome thing because, obviously people who love the outdoors are really passionate about it. And I know, like, for me, like, hunting is something that I can't get enough of. And, that became shed hunting and turkey hunting. And it's so cool that you guys bring forth all of those things to veterans and getting them connected to that. And it seems like, for people who want to donate, there are so many opportunities to do that, so can you kind of walk us through a little bit about the different avenues? I know that, certainly you mentioned the fundraising. It looks like, from the website, you can contribute monthly, which I think is a really great way for people who may not have access to, lots of land or things like this. You mentioned that you have a boat, you take people out in your boat. So can you kind of walk us through, like, if somebody wants, if a civilian or, veteran, or if somebody wants to contribute to your causes, how do they do that? And what can that look like?
Well, we have a what are them things called? You donate money through. We have our I'm trying to think.
Fund me.
We have QR code.
No, you got a QR code. Yep.
Get on what you really want to do as a person that wants to do it. We have a support page, but if you want to become a member, you just go on the Fallen Outdoors Midwest page, and you only got to answer 2 questions: what year you served, what branch. That's it. You're a member after that.
So Ron, that is for active duty or service members to become a member. And when you say members, that's what you're talking to is the people that are benefiting from the wonderful services you provide. Is that, when you say members, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, veterans, non-veterans, they sign up for the page. That's how they get out and go. Now, some of those guys will go out and tell their dad, "Hey, I joined this organization. Can they hunt on your land? But basically, like this fundraiser that I'm working on putting together for the TFO, what we're trying to do is raise enough money for the staffers and for Team Michigan to be able, because we don't do it for pay. None of us get paid nothing. But it would be nice to have help with gas. For myself, I've done the small, benefits and fundraising, and I use that. I got a PayPal card I put every bit of money on that, and I use that throughout the year to take them fishing, in gas, to drive like opening day gun season, for instance. I was at 3 farms before 9 a.m. in the morning, and they were like 20, 25 miles apart, you know. And
Yeah.
who's got to pay? You know, me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Right.
fundraising why we do it. But this banquet that we're doing on the 26th of August is our first ever Michigan banquet. And we're going to have gun raffles. We're going to have 50-50. It's going to be, you know, it seats 300. And we got 270 tickets out there that we printed. We have corporate tables, like corporations like Mr. Tripp, they can donate, and we can take that money and go lease a farm. Or for instance, some of the money, most of the money that we took in last year and the year before, we bought a staff boat to take people out on the river. And last year, about 60 people on that staff boat. You know, so that's the kind of fundraising we do. We bought a staff boat, and we didn't buy a brand new one. We bought one that was, you know, roughly 3,500, you know, but it's to get 2 veterans out every day. But the fundraising, we've got hopefully a gun broker coming in, going to raffle off guns. We've got a grand prize right now with 3 guns in it. And you know, we're going to sell tickets, you know, to get in. The tickets include a dinner, which is a really, I would say 4 or 5 star dinner, brisket, all the walleye you can eat.
My Lord, that sounds wonderful.
We're going to have gun raffles. We're going to have 50-50s. We're going to have gift baskets where they can go around and drop a ticket in the baskets. Hoping to have a couple, you know, guest speakers like yourself, you know.
Well, that's great. I presume you guys can hear me now, right?
We got you.
We got you. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My camera shut off. My mic shut off. I could hear you guys, and I could still see us on the computer, but my stuff quit working. So I apologize for that, Joel. Thanks for both of you carrying on you know, making it roll. So you know, Ron, I heard you talking. You know, I have your email and stuff. I'm going to include a bunch of links in the description of this podcast and this broadcast, so people will be able to go to the description and click on those links. I'm going to put the Fallen Outdoors website. I'm going to put a link to the Facebook page. I'll even put a link to the Veterans Members page, because there's several Fallen Outdoors. So there's one for that looks like the general public, and then there's one to you know, you have to be a service member or prior service to be a member. So I'll include that. So if anybody, you know, veterans want to join there, you know, we'll get information out there. So, you know, your banquet, you talked about your banquet, that is in Mason, Michigan, right?
Mason, Michigan, at the VFW Hall. You know, it's right off the highway on Hall Road. Banquet. We got we're going to have a pay bar. You know, they can get some drinks. We're going to have a feast. It's going to be a really nice meal. And then, like I said, we're going to have raffles. We're going to have a little bit of music playing, a couple guest speakers. The key thing is, you know, it's a fundraiser. We want to raise funds,
sure,
but we want to also hopefully get some new members signed up while we're there that might show up and say, hey, I want to do this. You guys, you know, nobody twisted your arm to do this. You heard about us, and you see the importance, and that's why we're doing this. Other organizations don't get it out there. They don't know about us. And then when they do, they're kind of skeptical because they don't know the whole story. And like, it's not the VFW, I'm trying to think of it. The American Legion, they do a lot of fundraisers and stuff at the fairgrounds in Jackson.
Okay.
I went to the fairgrounds and other organizations kind of feel like we're stepping on their toes, taking their funding, but we're not trying to do that. We're just there for the veterans. We're not trying to take their donations. We're just trying to get veterans out, and that's what the donations are needed for.
Sure, yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
Banquet is big because we've never had one, and by doing this first one, I'm really working hard on it because I want them the day after to say, when's next year? Let's do next year. Like for the bank, if they see the web page and they see this and they want to donate, you have all the links and stuff like that, but they can donate. We had a guy just donate 2 cross raffled off. He may have spent $200 a piece on sale or may have got a discount on them, but those crossbows may bring 500 or 600 that we can donate right to Team Michigan. And the important thing, Michigan has its own account where if they donate and they specify Team Michigan, it goes straight to Team Michigan. If you go on to the web page, like you were saying, and they want to donate, it may not go to Team Michigan. So it's important that they say, I would like this to go to Team Michigan.
Okay.
There's all kinds of ways they can donate. But like you said, if somebody has property and it's just sitting out there and it's idle and not being used, think of it as therapy for every veteran that can use that. It's better than letting the property just sit there and grow weeds. That's another thing we do.
Yep.
Every property that we have a waiver, a release waiver for the property owner that releases them from anything. A veteran goes out there, twists his ankle, falls over, cuts his head open or something, and they're not responsible for nothing. Any landowner is not responsible. We give them a waiver. And then every hunter that goes out there is required to show me a valid license, number one.
Yep.
They must have a valid Michigan license, whether it's fishing or hunting. Number two, they also have to sign a waiver that releases the fallen outdoors and the property owner. So the property owner should feel no remorse whatsoever for donating the property because they're covered. And the veteran going out, they don't feel bad neither because they know that they're covered too. We do have insurance that will cover some things, but most of them sign waivers. All of them sign waivers. I'm sorry, I should rephrase that. They all sign waivers. But like you said, the banquet is so important this year. And this, somebody might see it and want to contribute or donate. I should have, I will send you any links that you need. And another, if they want to write it off in taxes, we are a 501. We do have paperwork that we can send to write it off. So nobody should feel like anything's going to drag them down.
Well, that's fantastic. So, and we'll certainly get all of those links. And like I said, I don't have a wide following by any means, but you know what? I have some, and the value comes in with the sharing. So if we can, I'm going to share this to the tracking group, which I typically don't cross mix my podcast stuff with that group, but this is important enough that I will. Because that's statewide. There's people from top to bottom to right to left in the state in that network that and there are some veterans in that group. So we'll share it there. I'll certainly have your the banquet flyer. I'll share that on my Facebook page as well, and I'll ask others to share it. This is the power of social media being used for the good. That's really what I'm going to do. And, as far as my, there, I don't know, I could chump you some cash, and I probably will, but what I will tell you is, anybody out of your organization that needs a track in the fall, I'm there with no expectations other than to help them. So, I'll put that out there right now. Looks like we just lost Ron. Wow, what a technically challenged podcast today. I think some of my USB ports diagram's coming back.
I'm back.
We got you back, Ron.
All right, good. Yeah, I don't there, but yeah, certainly sharing is important. And for your son-in-law there, social worker for veterans is very important. We had, just a couple weeks ago, a guy who runs a veteran support group, for people that want to commit suicide or anything like that. He donated his here in Jackson. He donated free counseling. And I put it, when I get a donation like that, I put it on the web page and tell them, hey, this is available, and a veteran can go use it, free of charge for counseling or whatever. And it's very important, like your son-in-law said, to
that's awesome.
place to talk to.
Yeah, and it's just, again, I think another cool way that people can contribute and donate, again, and whether it's their time, their expertise. I mean, I love that idea of contributing that way. And again, like when you bring up how nature has, for you and your own personal experience, been so healing, but also the veterans that you have been a part of, that you've connected with, that you've been taking fishing. And I think it's so incredible, and it gets me so excited to see the work that you're doing and to see what you guys are going to continue doing. And I'm definitely grateful to have been a part of the conversation, and I'm really excited and inspired. So I'm hoping that people who view this or see the Facebook post or all of that will contribute donating and contribute their time, energy, because this is an amazing cause for sure.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. Like I was telling Mike, it's just so therapeutic for it to be on the water or be in the woods. 2 years ago, I had the honor of taking 2 stage 4 cancer veterans out deer hunting on Michigan Outdoors. Very next day, our organization signed up like 100 new members, and we got donations that following week that we never would have had just because they saw and found out about the Fallen Outdoors. It's just so therapeutic to get out there. For myself, like Billy out on the water. I was telling Mike about the guy that almost committed suicide 3 times. Wife left him, took his child, and he didn't feel like, he got out of the service and had nothing, nobody to turn to. Mm-hmm. And met him, it just turned his life around because he was able to get outside and he saw a brotherhood, a camaraderie. And, for the first week, he called me every day. And I, at first I thought, man, he's really, overdoing it, getting on the edge. But in my opinion, if it helped like it did, if I'd have known it helped like it did, he could have called me 24 hours a day, because I would have thoroughly enjoyed it. I know what happened through that, and right. Other staffers like myself, I know a lot of them that have PTSD really bad as well. And for them, it's therapy as well. We've got staffers all over Michigan. We got them up in the UP. We got them in Traverse City. We got them in Detroit. We got them over in Grand Rapids. There's staffers all over the state that, for instance, I was able to acquire a farm in Newaygo, and it's quite a ways off for me. So I got on to, I said, hey, is there any staffers near Newaygo? And just happened we had one that was 45 minutes away. So he was able to take out on this farm 25 veterans last, and that 25 may have saved one's life. May have prevented suicide because he could get out. That's so important to just get on property. I myself, I don't mind taking out of my own pocket, just like most of the staff members that we have. They'll take it out of their own pocket. They, whatever it is that helps the veterans and our community is important to me. And I know it's just as important to every staffer. Our state lead is very compassionate. Our assistant state lead is as well. And I'm blessed to be able in this group to be able to help people, to have events. Like I was telling you, we have a crappie tournament coming up. We also have wall in the summer or in the spring. It's important to me, and most people that hear about it, given the chance, it becomes important to them.
Well, Ron, I tell you what. So what you talk about, your staffers, not doing it for the money and willing to take it out of your pocket. That's because you got the right people doing the right things for the right reasons. And, that's what truly matters. And that's what endears me to your organization. The more we talk, the more endeared I become with it. But, when it comes to your crappie tournaments or any local events like that you're doing, please keep me posted, buddy, because I'll certainly share them on my tracking page and my personal page to help promote that stuff for you, because this is the kind of thing that I'm glad to support in this kind of way. So, anything we can do for you, don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, like we was talking last night, you said for you, no veteran has to pay you. That
Never.
Right there,
Never.
Big donation, because I know of 3 deer that got lost last year, and we didn't have anybody to call. Thank God I heard of you, or Cantor would have lost another one. But I was talking to some staffers last night about you coming and doing a little tracking seminar, and they're very open to it, and they were saying, he's going to do it for free. A couple of them called trackers, and they were told $250 and stuff, and they never called a tractor. They went and looked for the deer and lost it. That what you said last night is big. That's big. And if you and you can get on there with your other trackers. One of the questions that was asked last night is, so you're telling me if a guy up north gets one that this guy will go up and track it? I said, well, I doubt that, but he might know somebody up there.
Well, that's right. So let me talk about that a little bit, Ron. So, I'm a member of the Michigan Deer Tracking Network. It's just a network of 50 some people. I'm not sure what the number is, but it's somewhere around here that are all in there to track deer. You talk about the fees. Yes, some people charge fees. Some people do it for tips and donations. So there's a wide breadth. And just because you charge a fee doesn't mean they're great. And just because you do it for nothing doesn't mean they're bad. It's just people doing it for, and just like what you talked about, the effort and expense that you put into to do the noble work that you're doing through the Fallen Outdoors, your trackers do very much the same. There's a lot of energy that goes into effort, energy, and expense that goes into, training your dog and traveling to tracks and being dragged through the woods on a 1,500-yard track through a knee-deep swamp and Jurassic-sized thorns and entanglements that a rabbit couldn't get through when you're being dragged by a 95-pound over enthusiastic bloodhound. You know, all of those things happen, and these guys do it because they love it. There's no tracker doing it for the cash. They're just not. They do it because they love it, and it's that common mission is to help hunters. And like I said, just because a dog shows up on site doesn't mean we're going to find the deer. You know, the national recovery rate with a dog is 30%, and I'm not going to get into all of the reasons why, but you know, it's about 30 to 40%, we'll say. You know, so you know, 60 to 70% of the time you're not putting a deer on the tailgate. There's lots and lots of reasons for that. You know, either, you know, first one is probably that it's not a lethal hit. Second one is the hunter probably pursued the deer too soon and pushed it. You know, and that's sort of the connection that you talked about that Kantar had after speaking with you, and then, you know, some of the conversation that I had with him. So, you know, we consider that, you know, we think we were able to help that hunter. So, you know, the Michigan Deer Tracking Network is 50 some people, like I said, top of the state, bottom of the state, left of the state, to the right of the state, you know, so there's people there. Yeah, you're right. I'm probably not going to drive to the UP, but I know somebody who's close, or we can get you, and I'll provide you with the tracking list that the Michigan Deer Tracking Network puts out. And there's another network called Michigan Deer Trackers. I'm not a member of that network, but they also publish a list. There's crossover between the two networks of trackers. So yes, if I can't get to the track, you know, I'm going to do my best to get you in touch with a tracker, or have find a tracker for the veteran that needs the help, because we want to help.
Awesome. Very awesome. There is a need, that's for sure. And son-in-law, you know, I appreciate, you know, what you do and your want to help veterans. That's very important. We need people like you, you know. I mean, if you have any avenue of counseling, then by all means, you know, I'll send one to you. I'll send names to you, or you can get on our. That's another thing too. You guys, if you're not a veteran, you cannot join the Fallen Outdoors, but we have a Fallen Outdoors support page. You can get on that, and anybody can donate. You can get right on the support page, Fallen Outdoors support page, community page as well. And you can say, hey, I own property. Who do I talk to about hunting this property? Or hey, I got a degree in counseling. I'd like to, have you got anybody that needs counseling? I'll help them. You know, that's one way of getting the message out, is the community page. You can join the community support page. That's very important.
I think, and that's the Facebook page you're talking about, right, Ron?
Go on Facebook and you just type in. There is another organization. It's called Fallen Outdoors. It's not the Fallen Outdoors. We are put the in there. Once you put that in there, you can go on Facebook and you can add. You know, you can join the support page or the community page, and you can put on that page, you know, I'd like to help this way, or hey, I know somebody's got some land, I'll check with them, or let's just say your son-in-law's a duck hunter and he's going out duck hunting tomorrow. He can get on the community page and say, hey, I'm going duck hunting tomorrow. Have you got a couple of veterans that might want to go? And it ain't going to take long. He's going to get a lot of dings, a lot of people that want to do it. But like, say for yourself, you want to, you know, I don't know exactly what you know, gets you excited, but let's say shooting pool gets you excited. You know, you get on a community page and say, hey, I'm having a pool tournament tomorrow. Anybody want to play? You know, that's your way of reaching out to the veterans. That's fantastic. So there is a page. where a non-veteran can go, or just anybody that wants to donate?
I
Well,
think
awesome.
I came across that. I think that is one of the links that that I copied that I'm going to include in the description. I'm going to make sure, though. I'm glad you brought up the distinction between Fallen Outdoors and the Fallen Outdoors. I want to make sure that I have the TFO community page, and I'll share that because we certainly want to get veterans involved, and to have them become members should they want to be, and use you as a resource. But we certainly want to get the community involved and let them know that they're out there, and let them know how they can help support the great work that you guys are doing. So we'll certainly be sure to add that in our descriptions and promote that stuff as well, Ron.
Sounds very good.
And thank you, Ron. Thank you
Guys,
for what you do, and it's just an amazing program. I really appreciate you being here talking to us about it today. And I know that my wife is texting me that I've got to get upstairs to help with bedtime because we've got the little one to her. So I don't want to cut you guys short if you guys definitely want to continue the conversation. But
yeah, well, yeah, I think I think we covered a lot of bases here. So Ron, any final thoughts that you would have our listeners and followers here, or no?
I would just like everyone, every listener you have, just know that even any donation, I don't care what it is, any donation or any way that they can help. It doesn't have to be money. Anything that they can do to help out, anything outdoors. A guy had upgraded his trail cam system and donated his old trail cams. And them out on the farm, outside of town, and that helped. But anyway, it doesn't matter if it's $1. Anything that anyone can donate helps a veteran. And that's all I want. My email is very active. I don't mind if anybody emails me. In fact, when I see that somebody's, wants to talk about it, my wife says I bleed TFO. I pay more attention to it than her, but, I love her, but, this is what makes me thrive, get through my PTSD and same with, that's what it makes it go, our staffers.
Well, God bless you for doing it, man, for sure, Ron. So, look, we'll I'll include all of that contact stuff, and you send me whatever information you have, Ron, and we'll certainly include it and help promote it for you. And hopefully we can create awareness. Hopefully we can have standing room only at your banquet on August 26th. It is at 5 p.m. in Mason. I would be very happy to come and do a little bit of a tracking